So one other thing just to quickly show on Pixel Bender is Pixel Bender can be used for fills, it can be used for blend modes, and it can be used for filters. But in this case, this is a new type of gradient. This one was actually written by Mario Klingemann, and just shows some of the things that you can do here. This can be animated, and it's just drawn through the drawing API. So another big area for us in Flash Player 10 is around 3D. We're adding it in a couple different ways within the player. So the first is the idea of 3D effects, or kind of 2.5D is another way for it to be called. This is just planes being positioned in 3D space, and those are some flat planes, kind of unexciting. You can actually position these things once, and because of the way our hierarchy works, I positioned them in a cube, and now I can actually rotate the parent object in 3D space, and I'm not having to control each plane one by one. Really use some of the power of how our DOM works. To show a really kind of fun but cheesy example, keep in mind this is a little bit of hand waving here. But I thought, what would it look like if we made an RA in this technology? So taking the Flex Store example that I'm sure you guys have seen once or twice, and going to add some really gratuitous 3D, so bear with me. So one of the great things about our 3D feature is that it is fully interactive, and you can take an interactive surface, transform it in 3D space. You can take other planes and rotate them as well, and by the way, this goes really fast. So high performance is a great part of this. It's fully interactive, really, really fast. It's taking advantage of any of the cores that are available on the system. It is fully clickable. I can click around here and see it. These are all actually just tweened, and once again, this carousel was really, I kind of made it out like a big kind of face of a clock, and then told everyone to rotate 90 degrees and told the parent to then rotate back, and then I just spin it around and it works. So pretty excited about how easy this is to work with. Now for the more complex side of the world, we've got the drawing API. So like Mark said, we introduced it in Flash Player 6, but we're really doing some major upgrades on it in Flash Player 10. So this is a basic example. So this is using our Perlin noise filter and is kind of drawing it out using the drawing API. Show you what this is really looking like. This is what it is kind of behind the scenes with the splines. We've added a new API for drawing triangles and providing UV coordinate mapping onto the texture. So this is one bitmap, and by supplying the UV coordinates of how the texture applies at each vertex, you can actually create this seamless effect without kind of having to hack it together. To see what this looks like more skilled than me doing something pretty basic, let's see what this looks like in one of the 3D environments out there. This is actually Flash Player 9. This is not the new drawing API. I'm pretty amazed that this works overall. I think the 3D engines have been amazingly cool. Pretty high performance for Flash Player 9. You'll see some limitations though. If you look at the grading along the side, you'll see some ripples. Some things are not as crisp and clear as it would be nice if they were. So actually, the Alternativa platform folks have already done some work in Flash Player 10 and have taken this, and you'll see that the images are much sharper, much clearer, and you'll also see that this is going to run a lot faster, and I can actually run to kind of get to some of the cooler areas. It's amazing that I can even... Hey, that's the first time I've made it smoothly down to the end, and you can see like these nested filters or nested objects. Really great performance out of it. So just actually one thing I did want to show you. The reason why talking about this is the drawing API and why I was showing the triangles before. So this is how it's actually built. You can see everything is broken down to triangles. They were having to do a lot of bitmap data manipulation before, and what they're able to do now is pass it directly in. So for you guys, another pretty cool thing that we're adding in 10 is text. Oop, not that one. Quick one here is ligatures. If any of you guys are typography geeks, and I hope you are, there's fun things you can do with ligature characters. They're actually part of the dynamic text fields or dynamic text layouts that are available in our new text engine. But the one I always like to show is this Japanese example. It's showing several of the kind of cool things going on. So vertical text layout, right to left paragraph alignment, the Latin characters being laid out differently, vertical alignment, Plus, it's multi-column and it's dynamic. There's a lot of new text capabilities that you're going to be able to explore in Flash Player 10. This is really taking advantage of the fact that this is the first major release of Flash Player since we've become Adobe, and the new text elements and this component set here has actually been worked on by our InDesign team, and they know something about texture. So some really powerful features there. Last one I want to show is, this was actually kind of a late ad for us, but I'm really excited we got it there. Oh, okay. Well, I'll put up really loud. So what this is it's a waveform, not terribly exciting, but you can hear some of the music, and what this is actually doing is taking an audio file in MP3 to add two things to it. One is to be able to extract the binary data of just the audio, so you just actually get a series of numbers representing the waveform and all the audio. And what you can do with that is, well, apply it to the drawing API, make a waveform. You could send it to Pixelbender, write audio filters, but then it's really coupled with the other API, which is the ability to, let me shut this down, which is the ability to feed it back into the sound buffer. So when the sound buffer starts to go empty, it adds an event. You put more data in, and you can supply it there. So you can actually do application-level audio compositing, like I said, filters, lots of new elements that really are just kind of calling out for some of you audio geeks to start playing with it and making some good applications. There's actually a lot more things going on in Flash Player 10, and I hope you will join me on Wednesday for my presentation. Otherwise, I'm going to give it back to Mark to keep going, and hope you have a good rest of the conference.
Sorry for the little switcheroo here. That's some pretty amazing stuff. So that's a lot of really incredible features that are part of Flash Player 10. We're also working on a new version of Air called Cosmo. And what that's going to do is really take all of that Flash Player 10 new capabilities and add it to Air. And that will be available shortly, right around the time that Flash Player 10 comes out. So you can take advantage of that on the desktop as well. That will also add support for Linux platforms, so it'll be available on Windows, Mac, and Linux. Now, we're also hard at work on the next version of Flex, which is codenamed Gumbo. And we really have three major themes. The first is design in mind, so really making design a fundamental part of Flex, and I'll be showing you a lot more of that. We're also working on developer productivity, both in Flex Builder and in the language itself of Flex. We're also doing a lot to really take the framework forward, to take advantage of the new Flash Player features, to take common requests from developers and move that forward. What I'm going to be focusing on exclusively today is really the design in mind theme of Gumbo. And there are lots of areas that we're investing in. We've got a new graphic subsystem. And when I was actually here at the first keynote, I showed at that point a section of my talk called Making Sort of Unique Libraries, how you could build sort of unique component libraries. And I actually showed an early prototype of the graphic subsystem. To go with the graphic subsystem, we've also made a lot of additions and revamped the core component model so that you can take that graphics and really tie it deeply into the components. We're providing a bunch of new components, and we're also doing things with the state syntax and architecture, layout, effects. What I'm going to be focusing today on in depth, though, is the first two parts of this, which are really the foundational pieces, which are the graphic subsystem and the component model. So to understand the graphic subsystem, it's good to really understand about how Flex actually works. You know, and the core of Flex development is something called MXML, and it's just an XML file format. But what